Hello, and welcome to Scaling Enterprise Agility, a podcast all about how businesses can be really intentional about their ways of working and be more responsive to what's going on in the market. I'm Alexis Williams, Head of Strategic Alliances at Atlassian. I'm here with my business partner, Christian Kelly of Accenture, and today we are joined by special guest Fonz Morris, Lead Product Designer at Netflix. And together, we are sitting down live in San Jose talking about value stream management. Awesome. Well, we're here in sunny San Jose with our good friend Fonz from Netflix.
Word up. What's
Welcome.
up? What's
How you
up?
doing, man?
I'm good, bro. Welcome to the Bay. How are you?
It's good. Good to be here.
Yeah, excited for our conversation. So I guess just some softball questions to get us kicked off. Tell us a little bit about what you do at Netflix, your role over there.
So I work on the monetization team. I'm one of the lead product designers, and I pretty much spend my whole time figuring out either acquisition-focused problems or retention-focused problems, whether we're trying to grow subscribers, we're always trying to increase revenue, whether we're trying to stop people from canceling or making your revisit to sign up for your service a lot easier. A lot of focused on making sure that we're getting users onto the platform quickly, or keeping them happy while they are a customer, or allowing them to leave easy if they want, and most importantly, come back easy if they want. So it's just focused on really bringing the best user experience to Netflix and to our users.
And for you, what the scope of product design at Netflix, talk to us a little bit about how that works with engineering and product managers. What's a day in the life for Fonz as a product designer?
For sure. So when I'm doing my talks, I have a slide that looks like it's just pretty much all the Marvel characters together combined on one slide, right? And I think that's the best way to explain it, because superheroes have their own individual talent, and you bring them all together, and now you have the Avengers, Right. That's pretty much what it is. It's like a Netflix, but we're very cross-functional. So I work with my team, which are other product designers and content designers and product managers and product marketing managers and front-end, back-end engineers and engineering leads and my design manager and directors. It's so many different pieces that make the puzzle up of Netflix, that's just from the product side, let alone the content production side. So a day in the life of me at Netflix is meetings, docs, writing docs, reading docs. Most of my day is spent communicating with my team, like I said, because we're so cross-functional, and then trying to squeeze in time to maybe do some design. We spend so much time on flows just to make sure that we're getting everything figured out before we even would go into what the traditional person may think design is, like what it may look like or feel and stuff like that. That's like way later down the line.
So the flows are, if I'm reading you right, the flows are just like, how might the thing work before you even get to what's a cartoon drawing of what something could be.
I've seen some flows that if I showed, I wish I had my laptop to open up right now to show you some of the complexity of the flows that we have built. I mean, they're almost like a work of art. They literally look like gigantic, massive blueprints, because we have to map out every single use case we could think of, but then we have to think about every error case that we could think of, and then we have to think of every edge case. Yep. And now the edge cases, sometimes you can't even think of the edge case. It just happens naturally through a user using it, or you try to predict them. So when you're trying to think of all the different things, oh my goodness, who knows how many flows that could be.
How do you capture all of that? I mean, massive use cases in general, but then more edge cases than expected. How do you even go about capturing all of it?
So my teammates are fantastic. Everybody is just stellar. Stunning colleagues is what we call ourselves. And you'll see certain teams or certain orgs worry about a certain part almost naturally. Engineering is most likely going to be the team to come up with the error cases, because they're going to see the error cases first, because they're the ones that will build it, they'll run it, and it's boom, and it's oh, we didn't think of that. So the design team is most likely going to be the ones trying to get through the success flow of what does it get, how do I get Christian from A to Z? How do I get you from A to Z? And then the edge cases is a mixture of engineering and design and PM, because we're well, we almost got you through the happy path, but then what if you saw this error, but you only see this error once if this happens to happen? Like you cut your TV off right in the middle of the flow. So it'll take two teams to really figure out what that edge case may end up being. So it's like you bring everybody together and you just start listing them out. And I mean, people would be surprised how much of Netflix is done in docs. We're a Google Suite company because we have to, once again, I'm going to use this word 1,000 times, because we are so cross-functional and we collaborate so much. You need open tools like that, like a Figma, Google Docs, where everybody can have a brainstorming. You can just start listing out what you think the edge cases would be.
So everybody can edit together.
You'll list 5. Okay. You'll list 5.
Yep.
I list 5. We have 15. Are any of these the same? If so, let's combine them. And now we ended it with 7. And we're like, are these the only 7? Maybe this is all we can think of for right now. And that's cool. Let's attack these. And as more come, we'll just add them to the list.
And how do you, like, from the outside, people have lots of myths about how companies like yours work. Like, organizationally, how do you get all those people to be organized cross-functionally as a team and go do things that are bigger than the team? Like, how does that actually work for you guys?
I think it's why you join a company. I think it starts all the way with day one of you want to be a part of Netflix. You believe in the mission. You want to help solve these huge billion-dollar world scale problems. So you come to the table with curiosity, hunger, drive, ambition, wanting to do that, right? So then second, you have to have this culture of everybody needs to understand that this is a team thing. So you're gonna need everybody to also understand that it's not going to work without communication. It's too easy for things to get misaligned. You have all these brilliant people constantly thinking of ways to help the team gel and create synergy and build alignment. And then you have amazing leaders in the organization that are there to help with that support, as well as we're lucky enough to have like product ops and design ops that pretty much come in and they help me with my communication with the engineering team, so I don't have to do it all on my own. Instead of the work being completely on the PM to do the roadmap, it's the PM, the designers are helping, the engineers are helping, design ops is really helping. Design ops might be the ones actually managing the Airtable. So when you think of Airtable is critical, just like Jira, is critical for these big, massive problems that you're solving. But you want the people that's actually putting the stuff in Jira to manage it while they're still executing on what they're doing in the same time. It just begins to be too much work. So when you're fortunate to have like product ops and design ops, they can kind of help you get all of that done. So to answer the question, we've put a lot of people and things in place to really try to help build a system that allows us to keep things moving as efficient as we can be.
All right, so let's stay there. We were talking about systems the other day, right? Alexis, you and I, like, we see a world where lots of people want like a standard playbook that you have to do it this way and it's only this way, and everybody, roll that out and that's the way it works. It seems like you all evolve your systems over time based on need. Say more about that.
Yeah, for sure. My team used to be called organic growth because that's just what it is sometimes. It's, yes, we're stable. Yes, we have frameworks, but the best part about my team is the flexibility of the team because we move in real time. We make decisions in real time. We're doing research in real time. We will pivot on a project quickly. And I think that's the part that's the most surprising, even for me, is how quickly I've seen us pivot from things sometimes, but it was necessary. So do we have frameworks that we try to follow? Of course. Do we have processes that we try to follow? Yes, but even in our culture deck, it says people over process. And that is true, where we're more focused on what can the individual bring to the team and bring to the company. And then now, if you have some processes in place, cool, but we're never going to put the process in front of the people. And I think that's why I feel still so enabled, empowered, and excited to be at Netflix, because I don't feel like I have a ceiling. I feel like I can do whatever I think as Fonz Morris is the best for Netflix, and I'm going to get the company support. And I don't think there's a lot of people in tech that can actually truly and honestly say that.
We were talking a little bit earlier just around like the complexity of the decisions that Netflix has to make. Do you think that that plays into why, like when you look at people, process, technology, people are sort of at the forefront of that is because of that level of decision making and complexity? What drives really that, or is that just a company value for Netflix?
I just think it's a company value. I think all of our problems are going to be complex. See, but everything's relative. When you think of who we're comparing ourselves to, when you think of any project I've worked on at Netflix, it's going to be gigantic to a startup just because of who Netflix is, the size, you know what I mean? But now internally, this may not be considered as a complex project. This might just be what we consider as a small t-shirt, like, because we use t-shirt sizes sometimes for projects. So I may explain to y'all a project and y'all like, man, that's a triple XL. I'm like, man, at Netflix, that was a small because of we're used to these type of things, you know what I mean? For instance, the trying to help users understand that we wanted them to get their own password as opposed to sharing, that's a massive global company-wide problem. That was as complex as I think it could get almost.
With high stakes.
With tons of high stakes. Brand, money, user, just customer, everything was on the line for that. So that was as complex as it gets, I think. And I was really happy with the way we solved that. And we solved it through iterations. There wasn't no exact answer. There wasn't no exact moment where we knew that we had it figured out. We were constantly going. And I think that's how you have to solve complex problems sometimes. You have to break them down into almost individual smaller things, and you analyze them all, and now you attack them. Because if you just try to go at the big thing, sometimes you may just end up using all your energy, churn, time, burn people out, might not even be attacking it the right way. So we break complex problems down into small ones and then attack it to get all the way to the top and hopefully solve it.
Yeah, I love the password sharing example. And a lot of times when companies are going through a major change or initiative, like they get through it and it becomes, why didn't we do this sooner? Mm-hmm. What was that process like for you, for Netflix? Because that's a major example and a major impact to your business. And mm-hmm. Did you guys have that similar reaction at the end of it?
Well, yes, we wanted to do it earlier, but you know what? This is a massive shout out to our leaders. We were thinking about this right before the coronavirus actually took over. And we was like, that is not the right thing to do. We know people are going to start using Netflix even more. And it wasn't, oh, well, let's not do it because we may stop the users that would sign up. It's like, let's not do it because that's not the right thing to do as a company. It was like more of an ethics thing of at this moment when people are gonna need Netflix the most, because we knew like, hey, people are gonna start to stay home more. We actually put the password sharing kind of on pause for a while and we're working on other things. And then we brought the password sharing back up again. So it was just amazing to see that even if as a company we thought we needed to do it earlier, we made a decision not, because it just wasn't right for our users at that moment. And then we waited, and then we, like I said, we brought it back up, worked on it for almost 3 years, and officially was able to roll it out this year.
I've read something about your company and listened to a couple of your engineering leaders and product leaders who've gone on to do other things. And one of the things I've heard is that you all will regularly do exactly what you just said, have a backlog of ideas that are like, not gonna work today, we'll try it again in like 2 more years. And it's not magic. You've had those ideas for a while and you revisit them from time to time. Is that myth or is that truth?
That's super true. I just got finished doing a test on, it doesn't even have to be years. It's just at that moment, the team didn't feel like it was a good idea. We did about user research in the US, Brazil, and France on initiative coming up, and we thought it was a great idea. And when we tested it in the market, the people was like, it's okay. Like, it wasn't like as great as we thought it. We thought it was great. Customers was like, So we made a decision at that moment to kind of pause on it. Did we throw it away? No, we just paused, put it on the backlog 3 months later, we're revisiting the idea because some different conversations happened. We're putting a different spin on it. So it's always about coming up with ideas and being as innovative as possible, but being smart about what should you execute on right now, what could you wait, and maybe have a better impact if you do it at a better time.
All right, so as people start trying to have more iterative models, because we see this all the time, and work in that kind of way, like a product company, they typically struggle with this idea of prioritization, right? And who gets to make the decision? How much data are you using? How much intuition are you using? Do you have the right systems in place to even give you that data so you can make a call? Like, how do you all think about it? You're pretty, from what I understand, pretty advanced in how you think about prioritization because of how many things you got to go do.
I'll say through my lenses, I feel like we're pretty democratic with it though, with the prioritization. Nobody just comes in and just says, this is what we doing, because people are gonna be like, I have a question. Like, I don't think that's what we should be doing. Like, that's the kind of culture that we have of, it's exciting almost. It's like when it's time to present, you better have your game together because people gonna be asking you some questions. You're never gonna get a situation where it's like, I have this important thing I'm gonna present, and it's like, any questions? It's like, no questions. It's like, any questions? Ding, 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 ding. Like, 15 questions, and if you created a spec, you're gonna have 50 comments before you even get to the presentation. So we're very, very feedback focused at Netflix. We're always involved giving what we think. And so now what I'm saying is, like, when we were hanging out last night, it was like, yes, we believe in data, but it's human before data. So it's like, yes, I'll use data to make a decision, but at the end of the day, I'm still gonna make that decision. But then it's not just me, I'm gonna make this decision with my team. So yesterday we were in a meeting and we had an idea, the PM had this idea, and this is what she thought was the best solution. And I was kind of bearish against it. I didn't say, I don't like this idea. I was just like, I just feel like maybe option 2A is gonna be a lot smarter for us than 2, because when you start thinking of what kind of impact do we really want to have from this, and how much time do we have, and how much engineering, and then how do you really measure retention like that? I think we can focus more on maybe customer joy, and if we do customer joy, then, and if we have this amount of information, I think we can get this done more. And the PM at the end was like, you know what, I concede, you're right. Like, and then after we finished the discussion, it's like a group vote of, it was almost telling to itself, 2A was a better option. But it's not about, oh, Fawn said did 2A. It's the team came up with this better solution at the end of the day. So when we prioritize something, there's a lot of synergy around why we did that. And if not, there's always the disagree and commit, right? It's like, I don't agree with that we're doing this, but at the end of the day, I think if the bigger team thinks so, then that's what it is. Yeah.
Do you evaluate sort of the risk of the decision itself? Like, hey, if we make this decision, this is not something that like we can come back from, so we have to spend X amount more time trying to really gather all the data versus, oh, you can fail fast on this one, it's okay. Like, how do you
I've never heard us say that term. I know that's a term that other tech companies use. I've never heard anybody say the whole fail fast thing. Like, I've heard more of the take your time and get it right, but don't take too long. Yeah. But get it right. Don't fail fast, because when you think of a brand like Netflix, it takes one slip for us to be. I looked on Twitter one day and we had like the 7 out of the 10 trending spots. It's almost like we're one of those brands that if we get in the news, it's easy to pick up. It's almost like they're waiting. So we don't want to ever put anything out that would be considered as like a fail. Maybe it's a learning, but we also would rather take our time to make sure that this is the right thing to do. But also, let me also say this, the complexity of, by the time something gets to the user at Netflix, we've already worked on it for so long. It's almost like we're comfortable with it. It's been so much testing and research and back and forth that we're very, very comfortable with something, but by the time it gets productized.
Well, so back to myth busting, right? We work with a lot of companies who have this extreme fear because of either regulation or because they think that they're an old school company, that they can't move that fast. What I hear you saying is like, no, you actually can move fast. You can get stuff out and be thoughtful with a rhythm and still not make it just throwing garbage out and
Right.
spraying and praying.
Fast, once again, all of this stuff is relative and subjective because every company is different. Like fast to me is 6 months. Fast to somebody else is like 2 days. We're not getting anything done in 2 days. So if anybody thinks fast is a week at Netflix, it's not happening on a product team. Now, I can't say other teams like that because there's just a lot of things that you have to go through that are almost like safety checks as well, to where you don't want to just write a paragraph that's going out to the world and you didn't let legal read it. That doesn't make sense. So now legal might not be able to read this even today or this week. So now you've added an extra week, but you've planned that into the timing because you need time for legal. You also need time for localization. We support 33 languages in our platform. So for certain rollouts, I have to have this content translated into 33 languages. How long do you think that takes? You know what I mean? So just the process of getting things done will take us long. And even if we were as efficient as possible, to some people, that's not fast, that's slow. But it is fast when you think of it's a gigantic organization that has 240 million people. To get anything out quickly is like, I just think that time frame is gonna be relative. But do we get stuff out? Yes, because remember, this is another piece I'll say. We test a lot. So getting stuff out and testing are two but almost the same things. Getting something to a test, that's still getting it out in my eyes. So the terminology that I want to use to help everybody understand is something being productized. When we say productized, that means everybody on the platform can go log on and see it. It's not in test no more. That's testing. We're still in test. We're still in test, and all of that happens before productized. Once it's productized, I can ask any user anywhere to log in and see that feature is now available. So we could get something up for a test in maybe a month. But you know what may happen after that test? Now we have to get it into really getting it engineered because the test may have only used a prototype versus actually in the platform. If you got to roll back from something being productized, that's just a lot of work. Who knows the backlash you can get from it. So you want to feel super comfortable by the time it gets to being productized. And that just doesn't come from moving fast.
Thank you all for joining us for Scaling Enterprise Agility, a podcast from Atlassian and Accenture. Thank you as well to our special guest, Fonz Morris of Netflix, for sharing his insights today. You can check out more about Fonz as well as the work Atlassian and Accenture are doing on enterprise agility using the links in our show notes. We'll be back with more conversations soon. Follow us now in your podcast app and you won't miss an episode.